Greetings, aspirants. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the Daily Current Affairs by CivicCentre IAS from the Vignan series, where we try to discuss 10 important articles from the Hindu, the Indian Express, and the PIB from the UPSC CSA prelims perspective. So, the first article says that the former Union Health Secretary Preeti Sudan was appointed as the chairperson of the Union Public Service Commission after Manoj Soni recently resigned. In this context, let us discuss various aspects related to UPSC. So, firstly, as per the Article 312 of the Indian Constitution, the Parliament is entitled to create one or more All India services, including an All India Judicial Service, common to the Union and the states. This recruitment to all the services is made by the Union Public Service Commission. Hence, the Union Public Service Commission UPSC is the central recruiting agency in India. Know that it is an independent constitutional body. Now, what about the composition of the UPSC? Firstly, talking about the appointment of the members, the chairman and other members of the UPSC are appointed by the President of India. Note that any member of the UPSC shall hold office for a term of 6 years or till the 65 years, whichever is earlier. But notably, any person who has held the office once as a member of the Public Service Commission is ineligible for reappointment to that office. But a member of the Union Public Service Commission may resign from his or her office by submitting the written resignation to the President of India. Significantly, the chairman or any other member of the UPSC shall only be removed from his office by the order of President of India. Further, the President can suspend the chairman or any other member from their office in respect of whom a reference has been made to the Supreme Court. Now, what are the conditions for removal? See, the chairman or any other member of the UPSC may be removed if he or she is adjudged as insolvent, then if he or she engages during his or her term of office in any paid employment outside the duties of his or her office, lastly, if he or she is unfit to continue in office by reason of infirmity of mind or body in the opinion of the President. Notably, the expenses of the UPSC, including the salaries, allowances, and pensions of the members or staff of the Commission, are charged on the Consolidated Fund of India. Now, moving on to the next article, it says that the Madras High Court on Wednesday held that the breach of privilege proceedings initiated against the members of legislative assemblies could continue even after the dissolution of the assembly to which they had been elected, and such incomplete proceedings could not be considered to have lapsed after the election of the next assembly. In this context, let us see about the privileges. See, the state legislatures possess certain privileges that are integral to their functioning and autonomy within the broader framework of governance. Significantly, these privileges serve as safeguards to uphold the independence and efficacy of the state legislative bodies in the democratic process. In simple words, you can say that privileges are equals to special rights plus immunities plus exceptions enjoyed by the House, their committees and members. Furthermore, the privileges can be classified into two broad categories, which are the ones those enjoyed by each house of the state legislature collectively, and the others are those that are enjoyed by the members individually. Now, let us talk about the collective privileges of the legislative bodies in India. These are the first one being privileges related to publication, where the right to publish reports, debates, and proceedings, and the right to prohibit others from publishing the same. Secondly, it can hold secret sittings to discuss important matters and excluding strangers. Thirdly, it can make rules to regulate its own procedure, conduct of its own business, and to adjudicate upon such matters. Then it can even punish the members as well as the outsiders for the breach of its privileges or its contempt by reprimand, abdomination, or imprisonment. Next, it has the right to receive immediate information of arrest, detention, conviction, imprisonment, and the release of members. Then, it can initiate inquiries and order the attendance of witnesses and send for relevant papers and records. Further, the courts are prohibited to inquire into the proceedings of the House or its committees. Lastly, no person, either a member or outsider, can be arrested and no legal process can be served within the precincts of the House without the permission of the presiding officer. Additionally, there are individual privileges of the members in the state legislatures in India. They are, firstly, the members cannot be arrested during the session and 40 days before the beginning and 40 days after the end of the session. This is with respect to only civil cases and not in criminal cases or preventive detention cases. Secondly, members have the freedom of speech in the state legislature, so no member is liable to any proceedings in any court for anything said or any vote given by him in the state legislature or its committees. Lastly, members are exempted from the jury service, hence they can refuse to give evidence and appear as witnesses in a case pending in a court when the state legislature is in session. The next article says that the Indian Air Force is all set to host its largest multilateral exercise, Tarang Shakti, in the two phases in the months of August and September. In this context, let us talk about the highlights of it briefly. See, one of the main objectives of this exercise is to showcase the booming indigenous defense ecosystem in India and also to highlight the resolve towards Atmanirbharta. Know that 18 countries, of which 10 of them with air assets, will join the exercise, which will see a total of 150 aircrafts, both foreign and of Indian Air Force, soar into the skies of Sulur and Jodhpur. Notably, the exercise does not have any specific theme or is not aimed in any particular nation. Also, several countries which are taking part in the multilateral exercise Pitch Black in Australia will join the exercise on their return leg. Significantly, the IAF will participate with over 40 aircraft, each in two phases, and know that there will be participation from the Navy also in the first phase with its MiG 29K jets. Interestingly, in the quest to showcase India's domestic defense industry, homegrown platforms such as the Light Combat Aircraft, Advanced Light Helicopter, and Light Combat Helicopter are likely to be showcased in the exercise. Further, the Indian Air Force's LCA Tejas, Mirage 2000, and Rafale to take part in mega exercise. The next article says that the customers of around 300 small sized lenders across the country have not been able to access payment services such as withdrawing cash at ATMs or using UPI due to ransomware attack at technology service provider CH Technologies. In this context, let us talk about the various aspects related to ransomware. So, what is a ransomware? See, ransomware is a type of malware that prevents the users from accessing their system or personal files and demands ransom payment in order to regain the access. So, the malware may usually be injected remotely by tricking the user into downloading it upon clicking an ostensibly safe link sent via email or other means, which includes hacking also. Further, it can spread throughout the network by exploiting existing vulnerabilities. Notably, ransomware attacks can be accompanied by theft of sensitive data. Then, how the ransomware works? See, in order to be successful, ransomware needs to gain access to a target system, encrypt the files there, and then demand a ransom from the victim. While the implementation details vary from one ransomware variant to another, all share the same core three stages. Hence, the first step is infection and distribution vectors, the second step is data encryption, and the third step is ransom demand. Some of the examples of ransomware attacks are WannaCry, Cerber, Locky, CryptoLocker, Ryuk, and GrandCrab. The next article says that India's fiscal deficit for the first quarter of financial year 25 was 1.36 trillion rupees, or 8.1% of the estimate for the whole year as per the government data. In this context, let us talk about fiscal deficit and briefly touch upon the FRBM framework. So, what is this fiscal deficit? A fiscal deficit is a difference between a government's total revenue and its total expenditure in a financial year. Further, you can say that a fiscal deficit can be incurred when a government spends more than it earns or when its revenues shortfall of its expenditure. Notably, it is often used to finance the government investments in infrastructure, education, and healthcare. So, in simple words, you can say that the fiscal deficit is nothing but the total expenditure minus the total receipts except borrowings. Now, what is the legislation related to the fiscal management in India? It is nothing but the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Framework. So, the FRBM Act, which is instituted in the year 2003, has set ambitious targets for the debt reduction, aiming to limit the general government debt to 60% of the GDP by 2024-25. However, subsequent fiscal trajectories deviated from these targets, with the centre's outstanding debt surpassing originally envisioned thresholds. Additionally, the FRBM Review Committee report has recommended a debt to GDP ratio of 60% for the general government by 2023, comprising 40% for the central government and 20% for the state governments. The next article says that the windfall tax on the crude oil reduced to 4,600 per ton. Now, let us talk in brief about this windfall tax. So, what is windfall tax? A windfall tax is a type of tax that was levied on the companies or individuals who have unexpectedly or drastically gained profits, often due to external factors beyond their control. Know that it is commonly levied on industries such as oil, gas, and mining. See, the main purpose is to capture a portion of the extraordinary profits that the companies make and redistribute it for public good. So, it is a strategic measure to promote transparency and fairness and responsible economic practices in the energy industry. Hence, this hike will impact the profits of oil companies operating in India and reduce their earnings. The next article says that the growth in India's 8 core sectors slipped to a 20-month low of 4% in June from an upgraded 6.4% rise in May, with most sectors barring coal recording a sharp slide in output growth, steel production at a 7-month low, and refinery products slipping into contraction for the first time in 5 months. In this context, let us talk about various aspects related to the core sector and the core sector growth. So, what is a core sector growth? See, core sector comprises the main or the key industries that constitute the core sectors of an economy. Know that in India, there are 8 sectors that are considered to be the core sectors. The 8 core sectors of the Indian economy are electricity, steel, refinery products, crude oil, coal, cement, natural gas, and fertilizers. Know that these sectors have a major impact on the Indian economy and significantly affect the most industries as well. Further, the 8 industries have a combined share of 40.27% in the index of industrial production, which gives the growth rates of different industry groups in a specified period. But before the IIP is released, the index of 8 core industries ICI is prepared every month and released by the Office of the Economic Advisor, Department for the Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, and the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So, ICI gives an indication of the production performance of the industries which are of a core nature and measures the individual and collective performances of the production in these 8 core industries. Now, what are the various components to calculate the ICI? So, the various components are coal, electricity, crude oil, cement, natural gas, steel, refinery products, and fertilizer. Lastly, the current weightage of the core industries is petroleum refinery products, which constitutes to 28.04%. Next is the electricity, constituting to 19.85%. Steel, which is 17.92%. Coal, which is 10.33%. Crude oil, which is 8.98%. Natural gas, which is 6.88%. Cement, which is 5.73%. And fertilizer, which is 2.63%. The next article says that the Enforcement Directorate is conducting searches at 19 locations in Delhi, Chandigarh, Punjab, and Himachal Pradesh in a case related to the alleged generation of fake Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana ID cards. In this context, let us talk about the Ayushman Bharat scheme. See, the Ayushman Bharat was launched as per the National Health Policy of 2070. Significantly, it aims to achieve universal health coverage and aligns with the Sustainable Development Goals. Further, the scheme shifts from a segmented to a comprehensive healthcare approach, addressing prevention, promotion, and care at primary, secondary, and tertiary levels. Know that it comprises 2 main components, which are health and wellness care centers and Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Now, talking about the health and wellness centers, it was announced in February 2018. Notably, the plan involves creating 150,000 health and wellness centers by upgrading existing health facilities. Further, these centers provide comprehensive primary health care, including maternal and child health services, non communicable disease care, free essential drugs, and diagnostic services. Know that the focus is on promoting health and preventing diseases by engaging the communities in healthy behaviors. Now, moving on to Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, it was launched on 23rd September 2018. Interestingly, the PMJAY is the world's largest health assurance scheme, offering health coverage of rupees 5 lakhs per family annually for secondary and tertiary hospitalization to over 12 crore per families. Know that it targets the bottom 40% of the population based on the socio-economic caste census of 2011. Notably, the scheme previously known as the National Health Protection Scheme also includes the families covered under the earlier Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana. Lastly, know that PMJAY is fully funded by the government with cost shared between the central and the state governments. The last article of the day from the PIB says that India is elected as a vice chair of the Supply Chain Council. So, the Ministry of Commerce and Industry termed it as a significant milestone for the country. Further, the ministry said that India and 13 other Indo Pacific Economic Framework partners, in short called the IPEF, have established three supply chain bodies under the landmark Indo Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity Agreement relating to supply chain resilience. Also, the ministry said that the USA had been elected as the chair of the Supply Chain Council. Adding on to it, Korea was elected as a chair and Japan is elected as the vice chair of the Crisis Response Network. While for the Labor Rights Advisory Board, the USA is chair and vice chair is from Fiji. Now let us talk about IPEF in brief. So the IPEF, which was launched on 23rd May 2022 at Tokyo of Japan, comprises of 14 countries which are Australia, Brunei, Fiji, India, Indonesia, Japan, Republic of Korea, Malaysia, New Zealand, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, and USA. Significantly, the IPEF seeks to strengthen economic engagement and cooperation among partner countries with the goal of advancing growth, economic stability, and prosperity in the region. Further, the framework is structured around four pillars relating to trade, supply chain resilience, clean economy, and fair economy. Notably, India had joined the pillars 2 and 4 of the IPEF, while it has maintained an observer status in pillar 1. So, in this video, we have talked about 10 articles in total for the day from the Hindu, the Indian Express, and the PIB. We'll be back again tomorrow with another video. Thank you.